Nice one.
Welcome back to the Body Part Series. In this episode, we're going to be diving into all things arm training. So think bicep curls, tricep pushdowns, and all the different variations that come with it. If you struggle to grow your arms, struggle to get them stronger, this episode is going to be a must-watch for you. As always, please share with your family and friends, leave any questions in the comments below, and hit subscribe. Okay, so first off, we're going to go into the dumbbell curl. So Eddie, if you want to grab some 1 kilo dumbbells for you? Or?
I went 3.
Yeah, 3 kilos? Okay, so the dumbbell curl, the principles here, again, we're going to apply it to all different types. Hammer curl, incline curl, seated, upright. Here we've got a slight incline. And the key thing here is you want to get your shoulders pinched back, your head back, your chest should be nice and tall, and you'll be starting from a straight arm position. Okay, we don't want to be doing half curls. We'll start from a straight arm position and then curl up. And as you curl up, one of the key things you'll see is Ed is not moving his elbows back and forth. He's keeping his elbows fixed, and he's simply bringing his wrist up towards the front of his shoulder. And that's the full rep. So all the way down to the bottom. A good way to keep yourself honest with this is you can flex your tricep at the bottom and then bring it all the way up. Squeeze the bicep as hard as possible and then slowly lower it. The biggest mistake we tend to see is, again, it's around depth. It's not doing the full range of motion. And it's when the set gets difficult, it's starting to swing. You're turning it into a shoulder movement rather than a bicep. We've all seen the guys especially turning barbell curls into a back extension hybrid. We want to avoid all that. Because if you want to really target the biceps, you want to keep everything else as fixed as possible. Now, biceps is going to be one of those exercises where you're not going to make quantum leaps in the amount you lift each week. It's very rare for someone to go from 8 kilos to 20 kilos in your bicep curls. It's very much a slow burner. And there is always a point of diminishing returns where it's one of those exercises where if you can focus more on the mind-muscle connection, you're going to get more out of it, as opposed to trying to lift heavier and heavier loads. I think that's pretty much it. Is there any other questions? Any questions we have on bicep curls?
Sometimes they're in a seat position, like pulls on the front of the delt.
Yeah.
How do you know what's optimal?
Yeah, good question. So on the incline curls, how far back you go will depend on your flexibility. So if you're not flexible, just come off it. If you're not flexible, if you are flexible, you may want to try a 45 degree. So long as when you're in this position, you can probably put your head back, you can pinch your shoulder blades back and down, and you can still be in this sort of position. Ed's probably just about able to do that. He's struggling.
So I'm an example of someone not flexible enough.
Yeah, he's struggling, but he's just about probably could do it. But otherwise, just bring the seat up. Okay. Yeah. So if you see incline dumbbell curl on your program, you want to base that incline on your actual flexibility. Okay? Because on the incline, you want to have the elbow behind you.
So it's okay, quite high.
Yeah. So it could be, come up.
You want your upper arm straight down to the floor.
Yeah.
And so if you keep dropping it down and you get to a point like me where it's just bouncing back out here without Akash pulling me into that position, if you can get there yourself, if you can't get your arms straight down to the floor anymore, you've just gone a bit too far for you and you just bring it back up like Akash said there.
Yeah. Yes.
How do you do the same exercise standing? Because getting bench in the gym sometimes is difficult.
So stand up. Literally just in this position here, and just curl up.
Can you do one arm at a time?
You can do, but I would just do them together. Yeah, you can see, you often see a movement where people do this, then do this. I'd personally just do them both together. Yeah, because otherwise you're giving your arm a break whilst.
Basically lock your arms to your body as much
Yeah, keep your elbows in. And the only thing that should be really moving is your forearm and your wrist. This is where you want to avoid all of that, right? So a good way to lock yourself in is to squeeze your glutes, squeeze your core, get yourself rock solid, and then just curl.
And can you use
Barbells, yeah. Depending on what the program says, but you can use barbells, EZ curls, EZ bar, and then dumbbells as well. The only thing with this is if you haven't got the flexibility for your wrists, it can sometimes be a bit painful on the wrists, which then may give you elbow issues. I've seen that quite happen a lot.
Yeah, just from the timing perspective.
Yeah.
Sometimes gyms are so busy and everybody's like,
Yeah, just grab dumbbells and do it standing if you're struggling, and you might not be able to do an incline variation that way.
When you're in extension down here, do you keep a slight tension in it, or is it like relaxed?
I personally like to squeeze my tricep at the bottom and then go, but it's very quick. It's just like there, squeeze and come down. So when I'm going down, when I'm reversing down, I'm like slowly lowering here and then I tense the tricep and then go. But it's very subtle. I'm not like resting at the bottom like that. Yeah. That was a subtle flex there.
Sorry, small one. You know you're doing the curls, it's meant to be kind of in line with your front here or behind it, or just a little bit in front?
So that really depends on the exercise. So if your upper arm's behind your torso, you're basically going to train it's going to be same movement, biceps still going to lengthen and shorten, but it's just going to be from a more lengthened position. If you're kind of by your side, it's going to be more kind of in that mid-range. If you come the further out in front, the shorter it's going to be basically on there. So it's all going to work, but it just means the length that it starts and then finishes at, it's just going to be slightly different.
You just need like a couple of exercises for your biceps. You don't just do a couple. Because I find when it's concentration, I find a lot more helping that.
Yeah, everyone's got their like favorite bicep movements that they really feel. The thing you don't need is like 10 different variations. I personally just have like 2 or 3 I go to and then just try and get better on those. But again, manage your expectations with how much better you're gonna get. What I find is once you get to a certain strength level, then it's more, I'd say, around how well you feel the muscle. Because trying to go up in weight, because it's such a big jump in most gyms, firstly, it's gonna be too much of a jump. And secondly, you end up, in my experience, I don't know about you, but you end up with elbow issues and all sorts if you go too heavy in bicep curls. Don't be the guy trying to do 3 rep maxes and 5 rep maxes with all that.
Okay, so now we're going to look at tricep extension. So biceps on the front, triceps on the back. So it's going to do the opposite movement to what we just did there. So with the bicep curls, we're trying to close up the arm. With tricep extension, we're going to be basically extending the elbow, so straightening the arm. You can do this with a variety of exercises, but the kind of same principles are going to stay the same. And those principles are going to be that once you're set, you want to try and keep your upper arm locked in place the whole time. So a really nice position or thing to think about when you're getting set up here is to think about, like that bench press, you're going to go down and then back with your shoulder blades. There's nothing necessarily magical about that position, but it just means this is really nice and stable, so you can limit movement here, and we can get all of the movement from where we want it, which is going to be at the elbow. So what we've done here, Akash has gone into a chest-supported variation. You can do it standing, you can do it kneeling, you can do it seated, however you want. What's nice about chest-supported is that you're really stable, so the main thing you can think about is just working hard to straighten your arms. So from here, Akash brought his upper arm in line with his torso, and then shoulders are really nice and contracted, so that's going to be a nice stable position. From here, all he's going to think about doing is straightening his arms until his elbow's fully locked out. So as you get to the bottom of this rep, it's going to feel harder and harder, especially as the reps progress and you get more tired. So that last bit where he's locking his elbow out is going to be the most challenging part, but we want to make sure we're getting that full extension at the bottom there. Likewise, as we fatigue, it's going to be more and more tempting for him to let his upper arm move forward into a potentially stronger position there. There's no right or wrong, as we touched on before with biceps around where that upper arm is, but wherever you start, you want to finish. So if we start with our arms by our sides, that's where we want to keep it the whole time throughout that set. So we'll just do a couple of reps here just to show everyone, Akash. Make sure we're fully extending at the bottom, controlling it back up to the top, upper arm staying in place the whole time on there. Cool, relax. So nice little trick we got here as well. We're just using 2 ropes. Not every gym's going to have the luxury if you've only got 1 at your gym. But something that you may have well noticed if you do just use 1 is it's very narrow. And so getting to that fully extended position at the bottom, you almost have to be like hunched over here unless you're quite narrow naturally. So if you can get 2 and you can pull them through, you've then just got a little bit wider and it's just going to line up for most people a little bit better on there as well.
If you enjoyed today's video, make sure you hit subscribe, share it with a friend. If you want to take the next step in your transformation journey, book a call with our enrollment coach by clicking the link in the description below. Can't wait to hear from you and seeing your transformation go to the next level.